So I went to Colombia about a month ago and did my first ayahuasca experience. So we decided we want to come on here and just talk about it, give people knowledge about it, because not a lot of people are informed. There's a lot of misbeliefs. Some people consider it a drug or they consider it like witchcraft, but really it's more like a tribal indigenous, like people use it. It's medicine, it's therapeutic medicine is what it really is.
Okay. How long were you in Colombia for?
I was in Colombia a total of 10 days, but the actual experience was 6-night experience. So we got to the retreat Monday night, and we just kind of like got to meet everybody. There was a nurse on staff. There was, other staff members there that we got introduced to, and everybody there just kind of got to know each other. It was maybe a group of 14 or 15 people, so it was a rather large group of people.
Okay.
So when we got there, we basically got like a mat to sleep on, and we were outside sleeping with nature basically for these 6 nights. We all had our own little corner. There was an awning, covering. We were sleeping on a deck, so we weren't just like outside in nature in the rain or anything. My first night on ayahuasca, I actually did go and sleep outside on a bench in the rain.
Okay.
Just as somebody called me to it.
And what was the purpose for you to want to go through this journey to experience ayahuasca? Due to the fact that I'm pretty sure before you even took this journey, you probably did do research regarding what it was, but what made you want to go out and really do it?
Yeah, so I first found out and heard about it a few years ago. A friend of mine actually went. I think he did it in Costa Rica. So that was the first time I ever heard the word ayahuasca, and I was like, well, what is it? He kind of explained it to me, and I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And then I just kind of forgot about it. A few years later, heard the name again, heard the word again. I kind of just like looked into it more and researched it more. Like, wow, this is something I want to try. But from what I heard before I did it was you have to be at peace with yourself. You have to be okay with who you are and where you are in life, like mentally. You can't have I know some people use it to get over like depression, anxiety, or alcoholism, like those types of situations. But if you have like a lot going on mentally, if you're not in a good space mentally, you could get into like a bad, you could have a bad experience, which some people do.
Okay. So, what was your whole purpose for going out there? What were you seeking within yourself?
My reason for going is kind of wanting to know what my purpose in life was, or like what the meaning in life was, because I've had a few instances in life where I should have died and I should be dead. So it always made me question if there was a God. So I never really had a belief. I was raised in a Catholic home. My grandma was really Catholic, so I'm gonna give a little background information. I was raised by my grandma. She was very religious, very Catholic. Both my parents were drug addicts and alcoholics, and my dad was in prison for most of my childhood. So we lived with our grandma, and she was just very strict, very mean Catholic woman who wouldn't allow us to do anything. She didn't allow us to be kids. So we never really had a childhood. We just kind of got yelled at, sent to our rooms, had to go to sleep when it was still light outside, and she would take the light out of our room. So we never really got to experience having a childhood. A little bit of that background story. So then getting older into adulthood, I became a mom at a young age. I had my daughter at 17, and while I was pregnant with her, I experienced my first near-death experience where me and a friend of mine, middle school friend of mine, we were stabbed. So we should have both been killed that day, but I survived, my daughter survived. So I always thought maybe the reason for me being here was because she had higher purpose. And then fast forward into adulthood, I was a mom as a teenager, so never really got to transition from being a child to being a mother to being an adult. It was just
it went by too fast for you.
I couldn't, I had to teach myself, as a teenager, 13 years old, I didn't have a mother figure. I didn't have a father figure. I didn't have anybody in my life giving me guidance. So I had to like learn everything on my own and like take the good with the bad. And I developed alcoholism myself, not realizing it, that I was becoming an alcoholic. And I used it as an escape, and like, you know, maybe sometimes it was a good experience, sometimes it was bad, but it made me just like forget, I guess, throw everything away and kind of like black everything out.
Okay, so how do you feel now that you're back from your trip, due to the fact that you went on this whole journey? Do you feel like you're healed in somewhat way, or do you still feel like you're still going through the process, even though after the whole ayahuasca?
Yeah, I still feel like I'm integrating, but while I was there, one of my journeys with it took me back to reliving that childhood, and it took me into realizing that it was nobody's fault, you know, like it wasn't, couldn't be mad at one person or another. I just had to like come to peace with it, knowing, you know, my mom had me at whatever age she did. She didn't know how to be a mother, and she was just doing the best she could with what she had, the life she was dealt, the hands she was given. And everybody made me realize too, everybody's on their own path, everybody's on their own journey. It's just how do we deal with and cope with certain things. So I feel like it did heal me in a sense, like, you know, you purge while you're on it as well. And purging is, you know, vomiting, and like for me, it felt like it was releasing me from this burden that I've carried for all these years, and not even like consciously being aware of it, and not knowing I was holding on to this, or like always thinking I had father issues when really I had mother issues, and like becoming the same type of mother and not realizing it. So it made me more aware of myself and how I want to be as a person and grow.
So what kind of state of mind are you on now that you experienced the journey now? Was this in liquid form? Was it a tea? Because from what I've read and studied and Googled and researched, you can either take it as a tea, or it's basically, what is it, a leaf?
Yeah, so what it is, it's a root, some type of root of a tree, and then it's another like plant base. So it's two things, DMT mixed with the root. I guess it has to sit and boil, or just sit for like 8 hours. So the shaman comes and it's like a shot. You can ask for like a small dose, a medium, you know, your size of your dose. And it takes about 30 minutes to actually like feel it kick in. And then the intensity could last maybe an hour or two, just depending on how much you consume or how tolerant your body is, and whether you're resisting it or not. The first dose, I wasn't resisting it, but it would take me somewhere, and I would just like keep opening. I kept distracting myself.
So it was more like anxiety at the same time while you're
because it was like the first time doing it, so I didn't know what to expect or where I was gonna go, what I was gonna see. But it definitely takes you out of this like dimension.
So how did you sleep? Did you were you able to sleep through the whole experience?
So we did it in 4 sessions. The first session was at night. It was about midnight, 1 a.m. So we took it and basically went and laid down. Some people, I think, did go right to sleep. Others didn't. I kind of stayed awake. You want to sit up when you're on it. It said, well, I researched it said like sitting up gives you a more intense. Sitting there was kind of uncomfortable, so I would just lay down. Just close your eyes. You can have your eyes open. There were people there that were playing music, laughing, talking, walking around, just functioning. For me, I just couldn't. I wanted to. I tried to, but moving around made me more like nauseous. So I just kind of like felt it kick in. Time for me to lay down. So later, so I was in a dream-like state, but like it was like an out-of-body experience, really.
So would you say you had a great experience, a somewhat okay experience? Will you refer this experience to someone else who has gone through something similar like you, or is still going through something like that? Or, you know, because stuff goes on in life and we all go through different experiences. So would you recommend the trip?
I highly recommend it. I know I want to do it again. I'm not done with my work or my healing, so I know another trip in the future is going to be necessary for me. just because I did have a lot going on. Like, I felt like it healed some of my childhood trauma, but it didn't give me the clarity in my purpose. So that's something I still have to work on, but it takes work. I have to work on myself from the inside, and I feel like
So you don't feel like you have closure within yourself. You're still.
I still
in the
feel
beginning.
lost. Not even. I don't feel like I'm still healing. I feel more at peace
Okay.
with life in general, like with people realizing I can't be upset with them. Like, you know, if someone doesn't understand, or, you know, it's not for me to try to judge them or control them or try to change their minds. You know, everybody has their own experiences, their own point of views, just to take life one day at a time. But I feel like for me going back, I still haven't, it did show me I have to work on things within myself, but I still didn't get like the end result, the end like answers to the question that I had, like my purpose. I didn't get that answer, but it did show me like you need to fix these relationships with these people, work on yourself, get better one day at a time, and then when I'm ready, I'll know when I'm ready. I think I'll have just the feeling, and I'll just know when I'm ready and when it's time to go back. But it's not like it healed me overnight. I have to work on it. It's like you have to integrate.
It's a
you have to work on it.
transformation.
Yeah, so like meditation, yoga, just like being strong and just like really getting to know myself. Yeah, and bringing back that inner child, remembering myself as a child, bringing her back and remembering who she was and the type of life she wanted, what were her dreams and goals and aspirations. Because now, 30 years later, I don't remember those dreams. I don't remember that little girl died a long time ago. So now it's like bringing her back and just like try to love her and nurture her and mother her and let her grow up to be and become the person that I'm meant to be. I have to remember who I was.
Okay.
Yeah, back to like the experiences though. So like I mentioned, it does come in like a form of a shot. I did feel like for me the experience was, it made me have a little bit more faith or belief in God, that there is a God, but it's more like in unity, like God does live. Like it had me more understanding when people say, oh, you know, God's in everybody. He does live in all of us. We do have God inside of us. We're all one. We're all united. Everything is like connected. We're all just tethered. We're all energy. Down to like the trees, you know, the ants have their own little lives and colonies, their own ecosystem, their own brains.
So do you feel like you've connected with your own intuition, kind of, at the same time? Through the whole transformation, or do you still
I feel like
believe?
I tapped in more, like just being more aware, more self-aware, more spiritually aware, more awake.
Okay.
I sound cliche, but yeah, I feel like it woke me up. Like after that first experience it with it, what I saw, I'm like, I could never unsee what I've seen. It can never, like it changes you a little bit mentally.
So how did it feel bringing you back to your past while on the ayahuasca? Because now you're reliving it while you're going through this journey at the same time.
Yeah, so I
Some
know
people don't want to relive their past.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you?
It was hard, like the whole like going back to my childhood. I was actually took me in a few different paths. I sat on like the little stoop by my bed for hours and I was crying while I was on it. You know, everybody could probably see me crying, but they just knew I was dealing with something, healing from something, and I had to work through it. So I just had to work through it. And towards like the end, I was able to like go back and tell I feel like it was in a dream. I went back into like a dream to send myself, like I was able to go back and send myself a message, my childhood self. I was able to send her a message and let her know like, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay, like life gets better.
Right.
You're strong, just, you know, it gets better. Like,
I mean, if you've been through a lot and you're standing where you're standing at today, I feel that you're very willpowered.
yeah.
You're empowering.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was, just like always seeking just answers, just always being confused, not having clarity, and like going back in and reliving that, it gave me a little bit of clarity, like as far as I was able to like give my childhood self a hug, give her the motherly love that I didn't get as a child. And you know, I feel like the energy in the room was there because there was a woman there. She was about 7 years old, but like me and her kind of clicked right away, like mother-daughter type of click bond. And during that time, while I was sitting there crying and I was going through this experience, and I was like letting my childhood self know that you are loved, you are wanted. She was walking past me and she just like looked at me and she was like, "You look like you need a hug." And she just came and gave me a hug. And I was like, I felt like, you know, I did need that at that time. Yeah, and like she just kind of like felt it in the air and the energy. Even though you're not really supposed to interact with other people, like, you know, because you could go into their, you know, their experience, the energy like in the room is so high that you're not really supposed to interact or touch or talk with anyone else.
So basically, you have to, when you're experiencing the ayahuasca and you're in a group of 14 people, everyone has different stories,
Yeah.
and they're taking this journey. The energies, like you said, are different. So you're not entitled in the retreat to interact because you have different energies that are
Well,
going around.
just while you're on it, because you know it brings up the energy level in the room. And like if I'm working on something, dealing with something, and I'm like in a trance state, and I'm just like going in another dimension, and someone comes and like is talking to me like about it could
Interfere, basically.
yeah. I
With
can't
the
think
whole-
of the word. It could influence. It could persuade. Like it could be like, oh hey, if I say something like, oh hey, yeah, like I don't know, the trees are purple, then I go into my trance state and then I see purple tree. It could interfere.
Okay, so
it could
interfere with
it could
the whole
influence
other person's
your perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, interfere with. Cause influence. That if somebody says something to me and now I'm going into this state, you know, that's what's on my mind. So that's what my focus is gonna go to.
So do you consider this like an euphoria kind of?
Yeah, I feel
Sure.
like yeah, like even with like the whole, I have so much I can talk
Like
about.
so much like is like more like hallucination? Did you ever hallucinate with this trip? Did you ever feel like?
I won't call it hallucinating. It did open my eyes to like when it was kicking in and my eyes were open, I could see everything coming to life. Like the trees were moving and I could see like mystical creatures. It's like all these things are here. We just can't see them with our bare eyes, and this just opens our mind more to be able to see it. Is how I took it.
I don't mean to interrupt you. When you say mystical creatures, what do you consider mystical creatures through your whole?
Fairies. And
Fairies.
I didn't really see like fairies, but kind of fairies, and there was like, I saw people, but they were like trees and like, you know, but there was life in them. They came to life and I could see like the life in them.
So did you see trees or anything come to life? Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, everything came to life and I could, and
That's
when it was
something
kicking
very
in.
different.
And then at the height of it, with the first experience, when I asked ayahuasca, like, this is what I'm looking to get out of this, she was like, no, in order to get there, you have to,
It's a
you
process.
can't go to D, you gotta start at A, yeah. So then she kind of like showed me like underneath, like this body is like, it's like a costume, we're just wearing it, it's not us. Us is like our spirit inside of us, and that made me like believe in like the Holy Spirit too. And I felt like ayahuasca, when it's inside me, it's in every nook and cranny, it sees everything. It was bringing up, I was reliving things I forgot, things I didn't know. It was taking me back and reliving, but like you can't hide anything from her. Like she just sees it all and she shows you what you need to see.
Did you feel like your body was outside of your body? Like, I don't know how to explain
Yeah,
it.
like I was like
a spiritual
outside of
awakening,
me.
maybe?
Yeah. So like what it was is like I kind of like came out like spiritually, and I kind of like there's heaven. Like it was taking me to another world. It kind of showed me that we come here, our spirits come into here, into this dimension, and we kind of get diluted, like intoxicated. So it makes us forget. It makes us forget who we are, forget where we came from, forget why we're here, and that's all like done intentionally. Like we're meant to forget. That's why there's like evil spirits, evil entities, bad influences who try to come in and they see you and they'll be like, no, we have to stop her from, you know, knowing her truth or knowing her potential. Like, and they'll come and they'll try to distract you or persuade you. That's kind of like the message I got from it. She
Okay.
kind of showed me, yeah, like basically kind of like reopened your mind to remember.
Now, did you have to get prepared for this journey physically, mentally,
Yes.
before you went? Like, were there certain things you weren't able to eat, certain things you were not able to drink,
Yes.
to consume into your body before you experienced this whole journey?
Yes. So they tell you about a week before, a week or two before. For me, I wanted to make sure I was clear, so I tried to do a month. You're not supposed to consume alcohol, eat red meat, drink dairy, any type of dairy products, caffeine. What else?
So anything basically that
Sugar,
could be toxic.
yeah, sugar, sodium. So basically, you're going into like a vegan diet. You know, chicken, fish, vegetables, all the healthy stuff. And then while you're there too, your diet is very light. So there's a point where you're eating soup. So we're hungry. So by the third ceremony, we're all hungry. We're all exhausted. We're all dehydrated. Like it's like we're all like. It pushes you to your breaking. It does push you to like your breaking point physically and mentally and spiritually. I feel like by that third session, I feel like we were all exhausted. We were all tired. I knew when I came out of the second session, I knew a couple hours later we're going into the third one. I was like, I'm just tired. I don't think I can do it. I just want to sleep. But then I just thought about it, and I think, you know, they've done this before. They know what they're doing. You know, there's a reason behind it. Like they're not just, you know, randomly picking times for us to do it. There's a reason behind it. So I'm gonna trust the process and stick with it. And there was other people they had to talk into and persuade to do that third ceremony. And there were 3 people who ended up like leaving and going home the next day. Like it got too intense. Like, but, you know, everybody was dealing with their own stuff and situations. But during that ceremony, I just kind of like looked around the room, and like you can just, you know, it's so many people. There's something always going on in that house. Even though we're outside, you know, the restrooms were inside. So, you know, somebody's either up throwing up, somebody's up using the bathroom in the other way, getting water, walking around, crying, screaming, purging. You know, something's always going on, and like there's so much like energy just
So
everywhere.
were you scared at any time, any point?
No, not at all.
So you were ready
Yeah.
for this?
Yeah, I wasn't scared at all. Yeah, I was at peace. I wanted to do it. It didn't, the last session didn't scare me, but like by the last session, we had a day of rest in between the third and fourth ceremony. And during that day of rest, you could just see everybody felt more light, more at peace. Like, you know, we were holding all this baggage with us that we don't even realize is inside of us. And like we worked through it, dealt with it, and now we felt, you know, like we were
Feel lighter?
Yeah.
The whole load got
at
left off
peace,
your
yeah.
shoulder?
Felt like more at peace. And, you know, that day we didn't really do much of anything. So we all got to just like talk and share experiences. I did have like a personal moment with one of the people there, and I just kind of like mentioned 1 or 2 things, and like he just kind of stopped me, and he just started crying, and he was like, wow, like, can I just stop you and like give you a hug right now and tell you like I'm proud of you? And so that was just like a powerful moment for me. It made me realize that like my story is impactful to other people. Like I do inspire other people, and like I have 4 daughters that look up to me, and like to me, I might be hard on myself and say, oh, I'm not where I want to be, and we're our biggest critics. I'm hard on myself, like, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. But to them, they look at me, and they're like, I'm an inspiration to these girls, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it made me realize that too. Like, you know, you have come a long way from where you were. Like, you're not that person anymore. You could be.
You could
so
have
many other
still been in
possibilities.
that
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, still been in that mindset, still been in that life, been like my dad on drugs, living on the street somewhere, you know, alcoholic, anything, but instead I chose to push something inside me, just told me, you know, something.
So how do you still feel connected in any type of way with the ayahuasca, even though that now you're in the States and you're no longer, what was it, in like the woods?
Yeah, it's like
Amazon?
up in the mountain. Yeah, just like kind of disconnected, just in nature, one with nature. Coming back here just makes me realize how like life here is not what it should be. Like this is not how life is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be
I feel like we're just
living our lives to pay bills. Like, we should be explorers. We should be exploring the world. You know, I'd rather live in a tribe and be indigenous. Like, they got it right. They're at peace. They're not stressed about money. They're not stressed about working. They're not stressed about car payments and roof over their head. They're just happy and they're connected.
I think that's just
And that's what we have,
the
a
way
lot of disconnection.
we're just born and to
The
that.
environment we're born into, and that has a lot to do with it too. What type of environment are you born into? What type of influences do you have? And that is exactly what it is. And we're supposed to be connected. Everyone's supposed to be connected. Everybody's disconnected. The whole world's just disconnected. And that's where we got it wrong. It's not how we should be.
So, what would you tell our audience about this whole ayahuasca experience with the one that you took, the journey you took? Like, what would you basically let people know? Like, because we're basically now we're introducing people who are not aware of this.
You just have to like do your own research and be open-minded. You have to be open-minded to it, because you know there's some people, I've mentioned it to, who just have no interest in, you know, learning about it or knowing about it, and that's okay. That's, you know, it's the life they're living in. I feel like everyone should experience this level of openness and awareness. But it does change you for the better, but you have to want it. You can't just go into it and then go back to your life, because there was, you know, another person that was there. You've seen a little bit of change in him, but you could tell he needed a lot more work. Very impatient, very just like put your childish fits, and it was just, you know, a lot going on. You know, you knew he had a lot to deal with, but the time I was looking around the room and I could see, you know, everybody in their own situations, like this really is a form of therapy. It's therapeutic, and it works. If you let it, it'll work for you. If you're open about it, it'll work for you. You have to be comfortable and okay with yourself in order to let it do its work for you. You have to be willing and wanting to let go of the past or to see a change in your future. And I think everybody should try it.
Do you feel, or did you see anyone get to like the next level of maybe, I wouldn't say psychotic, but overly tripping over the whole trip? Because I would consider it's like a trip, right? You're taking this dose and...
Yeah, you're going into... So there was the one guy, I was kind of, you know, I was in my own world at one point, but they, you know, were mentioning it to me the next day. He was purging a lot, and it was like causing him pain. So I feel like, you know, there are some people who are, if they're not in the best of health, that you can die from it. I really do believe that. But he was purging, and it was like hard for him. He was just like, just make it stop, just make it stop. And but he was the one who, and I can't say what it really was, but for me, I took it as he was, you know, all those years of
do you feel like anything was,
do
you feel like anything was demonic on any of those persons that were there? Because I mean, I feel that we all carry, individually, we all carry our own demons, and it's just how you deal with the demons on a daily basis. Some people don't know how to deal with it.
Okay, so
you know?
For me, I can describe two instances. So the first one is I thought I had to quit smoking nicotine, but I think I misunderstood and misheard, because as a woman you're not allowed to do it if you're on your menstrual. So I think she was just telling me that tobacco can make your menstrual come. So she was telling me to stay away from tobacco, but I was vaping, so I was doing nicotine, but not in the form of tobacco. So I misunderstood. I thought we weren't supposed to have any nicotine in our system. So the first night there, you know, the older woman, I see her pull out a vape. I was like, oh yeah, you know, I thought we were supposed to quit. So,
right.
And she's like, oh, I have an extra one here. So, you know, I took it not thinking anything of it, and then, you know, the next day or 2 days later, I just kind of thought about it, like, wow, like this was put here as a temptation for me to see what I would do, if I would take it or not, if I would continue. I was mindset on quitting and not, you know, smoking the whole 6 days I was there, the whole 10 days I was in Colombia. I didn't plan on smoking, and, you know, I didn't even go a day.
So how's your mental
It's,
now that you're here and now you experienced, you want to go back?
it's a little challenging. So, it stays in you and it stays with you. They tell you not to make any major life decisions right away. To give it like a couple months, because it's still working. It's still in your system. It's been about a month for me now, and I feel like, well, I didn't mention before, but like I decided while I was on it that I wasn't going to drink anymore. And that was the other thing I was going to mention about, you said demonic evil spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So my last experience with it was it tried to take me, down a dark path. It showed me a dark path, and I kind of like took it, understood it as like a dark entity, or evil spirit did latch onto me as a child. So like things, and it would come out more in the form of drinking. Drinking would activate her. And I felt like, maybe that's why I blacked out or don't remember things when I drink, because it's not me, it's someone else. Okay. And I feel like I released that spirit while I was there, and I told myself I never want to see that person again. I never want to be that person again. I'm never drinking again.
Okay.
Here we are a month into it, and I'm like, I have the temptations, I have the urges of just wanting to, pick it up. But it's like, I know I need to stay strong and keep my mind on other things, I just enjoy sobriety.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to add to this topic?
Let me see.
Personal relationships within yourself. How are you dealing with that? I mean, I know you're strong-willed, you're strong power, do you feel like you can be more creative? Do you feel like you can be more positive within yourself?
Yeah, I think I need to tap in more to myself, get to know myself better, to find out what my passions are. Because everyone always, meeting someone new, oh, what do you do for fun? What's your hobbies? Like, I never really could think of the answers. Like, is it drawing?
Right.
Is it art? Is it music? I don't really know, because I didn't have the opportunities as a child to dibble and dab and figure out what I liked and didn't like.
Okay.
So one thing I do want to do is learn music. I've never played an instrument. I want to learn how to at least read music.
Okay.
Maybe play, I don't know which instrument yet, but learn something,
What do you think you'll be good at? Which instrument?
I was thinking either piano or violin.
Okay, we got the next music in the house.
Piano or violin.
That's what's up. I think that's pretty cool.
And then just go from there, just like figure out what I like and don't like with anything and everything.
Okay.
Treat myself like a child again. I know when I was in middle school, I was good at drawing portraits. I don't draw anymore.
Maybe you should pick up a
practice.
pencil and see.
See where I am, see if I'm good or not.
You probably are good.
You gotta practice, yeah.
Okay. So guys, we're gonna cut this short, and I guess you'll see us on our next episode, which we don't even know what it will be. But we figure we'll take this journey with the ayahuasca.
I do have I did mushroom therapy as well a couple months ago. It's a whole other experience.
We will get into that topic on another day. As of now, I think we're gonna cut this short. Thank you for having us, and follow us on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.